Hey, welcome back to our show. And welcome back from our returning viewers. This show is called Yomo, a year of magical learning. For those who are new, welcome. This is a show where we read books, reflect on what we learn, and talk about it. And so, if you want to get to know more, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified when we have another episode uploaded. So, today we have episode 73, which is a book called Endure. Chris, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, I think you read this one, right?
No, I don't think so.
I feel like we read this one together. For whatever weird reason, I remember this was back when Nickel and we were trying to do
I think I've read some book along that line. I don't know if this specific one or not. I have to jog my memory.
Yeah, no worries. Ironic you said jog, because this book's about a lot about running in general. But this book, Endure, I thought it was an incredible book. Honestly, I really loved it. It was one of those books where you just learn a crap load, and it was in a lot of different areas that at this time in my journey I had not really learned a lot about. So I got to give you credit for even finding this book. I don't know if you remember back when we were making our original core values for Clevany, mine was never quit was one of them I was pretty adamant on. And you kept saying, well, I get it, but I don't like it. You came back with endure and I love it.
Yeah. We want to endure because it's important.
Right.
Never quit. It's like, well, there's no, the secondary principle attached to it, meaning that you can quit things that's not important to you, which is a good thing. So, they never quit, it could be the bad thing as well. If you say, well, I'm not being true to myself and I don't want to quit that. I want to continue to be not true to myself. So to me, how do you fix yourself if you don't quit?
Exactly. So, endure means to me now, and I think to both of us now, it's when you care about something, then you endure. So life, you endure, your values, you endure, your purpose, your mission, you endure. You don't ever quit. You don't ever quit on things that you care about.
Yes. And that's the thing that I want to agree with, because, the other never quit, it's not enough to tell you the direction. Right. So, yeah.
Exactly. So when you made that strategic switch of our club core values from never quit to endure, I really liked it. I literally Googled books on endurance, and lo and behold, a book with the title Endure, Mind, Body, and the Curious Elastic Limits of Human Performance by Alex Hutchinson. I was like, this seems interesting. It's about what if we could all go further, push harder, and achieve more than we thought we were capable of. And I'm just reading the description now. It's blending cutting edge science and gripping story in the spirit of Malcolm Gladwell. Alex Hutchinson reveals the wave of paradigm altering research over the past few decades that seemingly physical barriers you encounter are as much a part of your brain as it is a part of your body, exploring the new frontier of endurance and how it relates to human performance and how it's a lot more elastic than we once thought. And I tend to agree with them after I read this book. So on with the reflection. I will share. This book made me think about a lot, but in particular, my biggest thing that I learned and wanted to reflect on when I was writing this particular one is the idea of the conscious quitter. And fatigue is just as much mental as it is physical. Specifically, when I started to think about this book and how it was relating to this journey and this life, if there's anything that I've learned over the past, I guess, 2+ years now of this journey. When I wrote this, it was a while back, so it says 18 months, but it's that humans are incredible, honestly. I mean, we really are truly remarkable beings, and endurance is one of our superpowers. It's really something that we have the ability to change and to adapt and to roll with the punches and to innovate and try new things. I mean, it's pretty unbelievably incredible. When challenges are thrown into our face, we have just this remarkable ability to band together and to use whatever these God-given gifts that we have to endure and to fight and keep going and explore new frontiers. This is something that I never really thought about before this whole journey began. Truth be told, I don't know that I ever would have really discovered this or thought about this until I saw firsthand my daughter's amazing journey and her fight and her desire to endure, and showed me really the essence of humanity and watching her fight. I know we talk about this a lot, but it's just something that's so top of mind for me all the time, of mentally going back to that NICU and thinking and watching her. She wasn't even supposed to be here. She wasn't supposed to be here 22 weeks old, and still she endured. She fought. She fought for everything in this world just for a chance at life, and watching her overcome barrier after barrier and struggle after struggle and keep pushing, and always, I don't know, it was just something I'll never forget. And it was something, for the first time in my life, I saw firsthand how special humans can be when we're put to the test. Amelia really demonstrated that to me. After watching what she went through, obviously I wanted to explore endurance. It's something that made sense to me. It's why it ended up as a core value that I think when you threw this word out, it really resonated to me. It was never quit before, but now it's endure. The concept of enduring in general is something that it's stuck to my core at this point in time. Just everything that I can remember of Amelia and everything that's been going on in this journey. I don't really rank my core values, but if I did, I might rank enduring as number one, because it's the most important thing that we could do. We're always going to be struggle. There's always going to be struggles, but that's the beauty of humanity, is we endure. The biggest lesson I took out of this book was how we endure. He talked a lot about the mind and how we have this thing that's like a conscious quitter. Our brains and our bodies have evolved, evolutionarily speaking, to tell us when we hit a certain threshold to shut it down. We're pretty risk averse in general, but the truth is there's so much more potential if you're understanding the science behind a lot of these things and how our bodies function and move. Tell the conscious quitter no in our own mind and keep pushing until we decide we're going to stop. That was something that was pretty new to me. I didn't actually realize that people had the ability to say no to themselves. But then I started to think about my daughter again, and I started to think every single time, if I was in her shoes, if I was literally living the life that she was living, there were so many times where I saw her where she could have just said, no, I'm not going to keep doing this. And she never did. It just makes me think all the time, constantly, about this, what pushes us past that limit and what else can we tap into if we really put endurance and this amazing human skills that we have in our minds and everything. All of our powers combined is what we can do. So yeah, that's pretty much what this book made me think about, I guess, at a high level. It was a really interesting book in general, and I'm all in on endurance, going forward for the rest of my life. And that's something that I really cherish and hope others do as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think I might have read this one, but I don't remember exactly, because I think you read another one that's similar. So I'm kind of getting like crisscross. But
Yeah.
I think the endurance is saying that we have more reserve than we think we do. And a lot of times our brains tell us we need to stop at about 70% of capacity versus 100%. And to me, the book is fine in terms of exploring physically that you have more reserve in you than you think you have, and that's good. And then you can consciously override that sensor that you have by default. Say, hey, if I run another extra mile, I could do it. I still have enough juice in my body to make that happen.
Right.
But in my view, I don't think that's necessary or needed, because when you're trying to do something and you try so hard and it goes against your will.
Right.
For me, if it's something important,
yes,
because it's so important to me, whatever pain I'm in, no matter, I don't care if I'm at 100%, I'm gonna give it to the last piece of fuel I have.
Right.
And I think it's gonna be worth everything. So for me, enduring in something that is important to me, it's already built into my DNA. I don't have to override anything. If I need to override anything, it's not that important to me to go an extra mile or to go another round or to go to the top of the mountain or whatever.
Right.
If it's not important to me, then my mind and my conscience will tell me, hey, that's not worth the risk. But if something is very important to me, I don't think that question will ever cross my mind. Will I do I need to stop? No.
I agree.
If I need to save my daughter from a burning building, I don't care if it's collapsing. I'm going in because that person is important to me. Right? I don't care how much, I'm going to run until I pass out or whatever I need to do to make that happen. So the question of should I quit comes to my mind in that kind of endurance. That's why I think the word endure, it is very special. And the thing is, for me, the word endure, it essentially reminds me of Amelia when I read your book, because your book, I can't imagine, you describe how this little baby is able to survive beyond the odds that we can even imagine that she could. Right? That's enduring. That to me is like you cannot help but feel emotional and maybe have tears in your eyes, because you see how impressive this little baby is able to go through all this pain and still trying to fight for it. and it gone beyond anyone's expectations. To me, that's exemplified the highest order of endure that I can give an example of.
Yeah.
Right. I'm very touched by that story, by that image in my mind when I come across the word endure. And so to me, that's worth fighting with every ounce of your being.
Right.
But to endure, like the one the book is describing, hey, I can run an extra mile, or I can go up another 500 feet in the mountains and endure more heat, more frostbite or whatever. To
Right.
me, I don't think that's the right kind of endure that comes to my mind when I'm thinking about this word. Right. That's just to show,
I
hey,
agree.
this is some kind of experiment I want to make. I want to see if I can do it, but it has no value attached to it.
Right.
But when you have some value attached to it, endure is much, much more than what meets the eye.
I couldn't agree more with everything you said. I know this book's about human performance. You know, you see a track athlete on the cover kind of thing. And, but you're so right. Like,
right,
Amelia,
because if you run for how many miles and go another extra because you push your body beyond its ability to, what value are you tying to it?
Right. I 100% agree with everything that you're saying, and it's got to be worth it to endure. And life for me is worth it to endure. For Amelia, life was worth enduring to keep trying. Like, that's what I think of when I think of enduring. We're going to have trials, we're going to have struggles, we're going to have pain, but it's always worth it. And I know for myself, like we were just talking about with Amelia, like I just firsthand witnessed incredible endurance. She didn't choose it. Like, I don't think she ever told her conscious quitter, you know, no, I'm going to keep going.
I'm saying is when it's important to you, your conscience won't even let you think about that question. But if it does think about that question, that means that, hey, you know, it's not worth it.
I don't think Amelia ever thought life wasn't worth it at the end of the day. If I had to distill down what I saw with her, she knew life was worth it, and she fought with everything. She never gave up, actually. She never gave up, even at the end, to make that decision, to be her conscious quitter for her, to say that this can't go on. You're just hurting yourself. And it was really painful to have to do that, obviously, and something I'll think about for the rest of my life, because I know she wasn't going to quit because she knew life was that important. And that's really what I think of when I think of endure. And I think of like books like this, and I think of just how unbelievably powerful we are. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
It's very powerful word whenever you put it in the right context. But to endure and say, hey, you know, I'm going to run a little bit faster, I'm going to be a little bit harder, I'm going to take the beating, take the pain or whatever. And that's, I mean, without the reason for it, I think it's just silly. I mean, it's borderline stupidity.
It's 100% stupid. I think of books like Into Thin Air, the one that was about Mount Everest that we'll talk about later on down the road, that I talked to you about, the casualness that they threw away their lives, you know, for what reason? There was no new frontier to explore. They weren't the first people landing on the moon in space, researching new stuff. They were just
bringing any benefits back to humanity. You know, I mean, like a lot of these guys, they go into this Mount Everest climb and whatever, and push it until they basically give their life away. I mean, they die. I mean, I think in one of the stories inside the book, you know, the guy died because it wasn't, I mean, the test to see how much he can take. Well, it didn't work, right? And to me, what are you bringing back to the benefit? You bringing back to humanity? I mean, even that, you know, that's, well, it's you still have to consider is it worth it to sacrifice your life for that, you know, knowledge? Hey, yeah, you can go another 3 days after you get to this point, or you go another 100 meters after this point, or whatever, right? Is it worth it to know that information?
From a macro perspective, I don't know. From a personal perspective, hell no. Like, I mean, there's no way that I'm going to let, like you said, my conscious quitter, there's no way that I'm going to not listen to my conscious quitter when it's doing something that I don't care about, you know, to my core, right? But to your point,
but whoever cares about their macro, unless it's not aligning with their personal, you only extend the macro only if it aligns with your personal, right? If you say, hey, I want a beautiful world personally, then I want to extend it to the macro. But no one say, you know, I'm going to sacrifice my life for a beautiful world, whatever. No one does that.
Right.
No one does that. So to me, like I say, whoever does that is missing some brain cells.
I tend to agree. Obviously, you know how I feel about the extremes of this world. Like, I don't mind reading about it, I don't mind learning about it, and I don't mind talking about it in a reflection about how I think about applying this to our life. I think that we have to be cognizant a little bit of our, this is a superpower of ours. We can abuse it just like anything else, right? What you're talking about is like climbing Mount Everest when thousands of people have already climbed it.
Mount Everest to save somebody, yes.
Right.
But you climb a mountain and just say, "Oh, I'm on Mount Everest." That's stupid. I'm
Even
sorry.
our
I mean,
endurance,
I don't want to like kind of look down on these kind of people. I just don't understand, right? If you climbing because there is an objective, there is something important for you to do, then yes, I'm all for it.
Right.
But to climb just to say I conquered the mountain, the highest mountain in the world, whatever. I don't know.
I don't even know that I care.
Maybe I'm missing something, but I think I'm not gonna do it.
Hell no. I mean, I think the word that we're circling all around is, if you're going to endure, you better endure for a purpose.
Exactly. That's the meaning of the word endure. You endure for something good. So for something, heroic, right? Not endure something for, oh, I did it. I'm prideful. I want people to look at me as this cool, awesome guy who went past or whatever. Well, that's, to me, it's not worth the enduring for. I don't know about other people, but that's how I feel.
I mean, you know how I feel. I mean, obviously we're 100% lockstep in alignment on this one. It's really funny though. Recently, just kind of a quick final thought, because I was writing about this the other day. I think I'm ready to coin a new term where, if meditation is like conscious living, I was reading that There You Go book, and
wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah, wherever you go, there you are. He talks about conscious living, right? Like here and now, like thinking about what's going on. Obviously, mindfulness, like that's a whole practice, right? Conscious quitting is what we're talking about here. Hopefully, you do it for a reason, because if you don't, then you're stupid. And I think you and I both agree on that. I think I'm ready to coin a term that I was writing about the other day, and we'll talk about it later on in this journey. We're calling it conscious doing, and that's living your values and everything that you do. It's having a purpose for what your actions are that you're performing in this world every single day. So maybe we should start calling that conscious doing. Conscious living is like meditation. Conscious quitting is, it's all about your brain and controlling your actions, right? And controlling, feeling like you have some control over what's going on. So, maybe we'll start calling living your values conscious doing. What do you think about that?
I like it. I like it because, in regards to the doing, like when you do something, it is usually in reaction to something.
Right.
You're not like, you're not taking it because you want to. It's because you had to. When you do something, you had to. Oh, I want to work because I had to pay bills. It's always a reaction to something. You're not in control of what you want to do. And conscious doing, I think, takes the reaction element away. And so you're doing purposely, you're doing things for yourself, for a reason, for a value, versus reacting to the things that happens to you. That's how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a place for that, I mean, because we unconsciously stop doing when our system tells it, when our evolutionarily refined systems say, hey, you're hitting your thresholds here, like, calm it the hell down. But you can override that if you want to. I think we can override ourselves in a lot of different scenarios in life, whether it be overriding.
Right. So I think it all comes back to the value, right? Doing things for the value, endure for a value, right?
Yep.
Versus endure just for the sake of enduring.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Well, that was good. I like that. That's something we can talk about a little bit more in the future. All in on it. I love it, especially when it's for a purpose. So a question we can leave with everybody is, how are you going to push yourself further than you're comfortable today? At least maybe we should modify this to say for something you care about, But as we go back through this whole entire journey and edit these things someday, button things up, we'll make these changes to the text, to the context, shorten things up, make it all nice and tight and good when we publish this thing someday. But for now, that's the question. So answer it if you'd like. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and we'll look forward to hearing.
We love to read your comments, so don't be afraid to say hello, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Have a good one.
Bye.